The guy next door is cutting his grass for the second time in a week. Can you believe it? What is up, everyone? We're back again with another review, and this is going to be for the 2021 film The Woman in the Window, and this is directed by Joe Wright and stars Amy Addams, Fred Hechinger, Gary Oldman and Julianne Moore. Now, based on the book of the same name, a woman who won't go outside due to agoraphobia starts to spy on the new neighbours through her window and witnesses a horrific incident. Now, this was kind of like The Mitchells and the Machines, where I'd seen the trailer a few times at the cinema before lockdown came, and like The Mitchells and the Machines, Netflix decided to acquire the rights to this film, and when they did, I decided to jump straight in. So what did I think about it? Now, I really like the concept of this film. I know it's been done many times before with the likes of Rear Window, the most obvious choice, Disturbia, The Burbs, but what I like as a viewer is seeing if these certain individuals who claim to have seen something through the window or, just looking over at their neighbour's house actually comes to fruition by the end of the movie. Now, while you mostly get on the protagonist's side in them other films I've just mentioned, this one decides to try and shake it up a little bit because Anna is suffering from a bit of a mental health disorder, and you don't quite know if what she saw was actually through her own eyes or just all in her head, and you don't know if her mind's messing with her, especially when other characters start to accuse her of seeing things, and it does make you question her as a character, but then all those other characters seem to be a little bit off. I mean, they're not exactly normal individuals, so you don't quite know who to believe during the whole runtime of this film. It was quite well done in that department. Now, this is where The Woman in the Window does actually work best, the whole mystery side of things, because certain characters will show up in these locations and I'm like, why are they there then? And other characters will say things and I'm like, well, why did they say that? And I thought I had the ending nailed down a few times, but as the runtime goes on, it does make you change your mind. And it's a really good whodunit film. I mean, it keeps you guessing throughout, that's for sure. I mean, for example, with about 20 minutes to go here, I actually paused the film, which is something I do rarely, but I had to just ask my fiance, what does she think that the outcome of this film is going to be? And I said mine, she said hers, and even though we both had two totally different answers, none of us were actually right. So that's a great thing for a film like this, that you didn't guess the ending. It means it's done its job, in my opinion. Now, I just want to touch on the directing again just for a second here. I did just mention that it was very well made because it kept me guessing, but also he has some very nice zoom-ins and close-ups and some nice overhead shots. He points the camera really well around this apartment block, which is what he's got to work with most of the time. But also, he has some very unique directional moments that you can tell he's experimenting with a little bit. Now, one of these is an overturned car, which when you watch the movie, you'll understand why it looks good. But another one was this blood splatter on the screen, and I thought that worked really, really well. However, the best thing about it is Joe Wright picks these moments. Now, I reviewed a movie earlier in the new year by the Russo brothers called Cherry, and these type of unique moments were in every single scene. It just became too much and threw me well off. I thought it was the worst thing about the film. But like I said, Joe Wright picks his moments and just throws them in here and there. And I thought it worked really well. I love the way this movie was filmed, in all honesty. The cinematography is very, very dull as well, but I think that works for this film because you sort of see what Amy Addams is kind of used to as the protagonist, because staring at the same walls for, way over a year, I mean, she doesn't go outside the house, remember, would make even the brightest of houses get greyer by the hour. I was also very surprised by the cast here too. Julianne Moore is just one of my favourite actresses now. She gives a great performance here once again. I mean, she's always spot on. Gary Allman is another elite actor who just comes into this role with ease, playing this very sinister and creepy character. And I thought he pulled it off really well. Wyatt Russell as well, who you'll remember from The Falcon and the Winter Soldier. Yes, that guy. He was great. I mean, he put in a really good performance. However, the star of the show is Amy Addams, and rightly so. I mean, she really shone just a little bit more above the rest of the cast here. She's got this very worried look on her face, and she just seems like this very fragile character, and she was very, very convincing throughout. Now, despite all the things I did like about this film, though, and the big question mark that was put over the main character's head, I still don't think it brought anything new to the table, really. It somehow felt still kind of generic with the concept that it's going with, and that is unfortunate. Now, there's also a scene somewhere in the middle of the film where we get to see what happened in Anna's past. And even though it does give you a bit more background to the character, it doesn't actually move the story forward that we're witnessing in the present day. I mean, I just don't think we needed this prolonged sequence. I think this would have been better if it was kept a mystery or just explained really quickly. It just felt unnecessary. Speaking of explaining things too, oh my, the ending to this film. Talk about laying out the whole story. I mean, I kind of got what was getting said, and I was like, okay, can we just move along now? And it was taking the viewer for a bit of an idiot, to be honest. And there's no way that this would play out like this if this was real life. It just wouldn't. So, yeah, that kind of took me out the film a little bit there. This is still really decent, though. I mean, if you like, as an audience member, playing along and trying to guess things and what's going on and stuff, give this film a go. Just don't expect Knives Out 2. I'm just going to go ahead and rate this movie now. I'm going to give The Woman in the Window a 7 out of 10. A really decent whodunit movie for 2021. Okay, at the end of these reviews, I always like to leave a little fun fact. Now, a fun fact for The Woman in the Window is that Anthony Mackie also appears in this film for a little bit, and Wyatt Russell is in this film. And what character did them two play? That's right, Captain America in The Falcon and the Winter Soldier. And it's just kind of weird that if this movie came out when it should have, I would have had to pick a different fun fact there, because this has now came out post Falcon and the Winter Soldier, so there you go. Okay guys, I hope you all enjoyed this review. If you want to subscribe, it's up to yourself. We've got a lot more reviews coming, lots more videos, and if you want to comment about The Woman in the Window, leave it down below. I'll try and get back to every single one of you, I promise. Take it all easy guys. I'll see you all in the next video.